This is the problem with the people giving advice that don't understand the kip brain, is that they turn the kips against their own nature into the biggest enemies, and the fighting that happens causes damage in every single way. And they say, oh, these kids are crazy. No. Your advice is wrong. Your situation could have been a horrific outcome, and now you have calm and peace in the house. Better for him, better for you. He didn't end up doing the bad thing. You didn't end up having a heart attack. The other kids didn't end up crossing you. Peace and calm in the house. And people say, oh, how much can parents, change the outcome of the kid? You have so much control, night and day. Night and day. You wouldn't be able to live in your house. You'd be surrounded by kids who hate you because they think that you hate them and don't accept them. And it would be Gehenna. And that's my biggest frustration, is that the people giving advice, they don't realize that their advice, as logical as it may sound, it turns these sweet, nice, sensitive kids into rebels. Makes them feel hated and unloved, and every step of the way for the whole unraveling process, they feel more, and they turn into these angry, they need drugs, they need to numb their pain, all because they're unraveling, and the fight and the tension, and they don't want to cause their parents agmas nefesh. They don't want to. They don't want to. And by the way, this is going back a long time. The Gemara says, if you want to marry a woman, you have to check her brothers. So the Chazon Ish, 80, 90 years ago, said that it's not talking about if the brothers are frum or not. It's talking about midos. Because the guy came to the Chazon Ish and he said, I want to marry this woman. Her brother is off the derech. So he said, that's not what it means. Big chiddush, because it says, Yivdaik ba'achel. What? Fine. Well, Pashut Pshat means you check out the brothers, to see what they're like, because that's how your kids are going to be like. And if they're not frum, then you shouldn't marry her. Said the Chazon Ish, no. It has nothing to do with Yireh Shamayim. They can be Mechal Shabbos. It's talking about check out their midos. So they asked Reb Shach, they said, I don't understand, Chazon Ish. This kid grew up in a frum family, and he went off the derech. You know how much tsar he causes the parents? So if he's off the derech, obviously he doesn't have good midos. So how could you tell me that you should only check the midos and not check the Yireh Shamayim? A kid goes off the derech, he rips out his parents' heart, he causes so much pain, he's so rebellious. How could a kid go off the derech and have good midos? That's what they asked Reb Shach probably 40 years ago. How could you have good midos? You're hurting your parents, you're hurting your community, you're saying, you're cursing God, you're ripping out the Shalshel HaKodesh. You obviously have terrible midos. Said Reb Shach 40 years ago, Be'erach, that today, in our day, the street is so powerful, the Tumah is so powerful, that it's a bechina of Yitzrei Albashay. Means that the Yetzer Hara is like attacks and takes over a person's mindset, and therefore it's like not their fault, like an oinus. That's what he said like 40 years ago. The street is so powerful that just because they go off the derech doesn't mean that they have bad midos. They just can't control themselves because the street is so bad. He said that before the internet, before Facebook, before Instagram, before WhatsApp, before fax machines. He said, what would he say about the gas today? He said that, how can we compare the street today to 40, 50 years ago? It's unbelievable. So what you see from over there, that according to Reb Shach, a person can go off the derech, according to Chazon Ish, and it's not their midos, right? And people go ahead and give advice to the parents that causes the friction to cause these kids who have great midos, who really care so much. And there are so many parents that say, no, my kid doesn't care about us. He's selfish. He's manipulative. You come, you do TP for a month, and you got a different kid. Because that's not who they are for real. That's the way they're reacting. And sometimes they could be 10 years reacting as selfish and manipulative, and the parents are convinced that you don't even know your kid. How many parents told me here afterwards, like in a short time, it's like, well, we got this sweet kid who doesn't hurt a fly, who's so kind and considerate to us, and who cares about, they start being appreciative, because they're sensitive souls. And the last thing they want is mommy and tati to have agmas nefesh. So you play this unbelievable, but you missed this. I'm going to repeat it for you. The kid wanted to do blank. You fill in the blank for your story. The blank was a bad thing, by the way, in case it's not obvious. It wasn't like learn daf yomi. No. Now, what is normal advice? The parents should go ahead and stop the kid from doing blank. How? You can't really stop them physically, right? You can't call the police. So how do you stop them from doing whatever that bad thing is? You give him all the reasons. You tell him, you could scream, you could yell, you could talk nicely, but basically you're going to tell him, don't do it, it's not good for you for reason number 1, number 2, number 3. Mommy will come and talk to him. Daddy will come, you're ruining your life, and all of this stuff. What is the normal success of that mission? You know, I always tell you, I never tell you to stop doing something that works. But how many times did you try that and it did not stop what was happening? A gabillion, basically. So we don't do that, right? So everybody understands. He knows all those logical things. We think they don't have a brain. They're bad, they're lazy, or stupid. That's not what's going on over here. They know everything. But now they have this, I gotta get the blank. I must do the blank, whatever it is. So what this very courageous mom did, trained very well, is the opposite. Yeah, we took the time. We spent a lot of time with you yesterday to do it. And she came here. We spent a long time going through the whole thing. And I explained to you the Yesod, which you should know. It's Badak U'Manusa, it's proven. If you encourage your child to do something that they're not holding by doing, they will not do it. The world and the therapy world especially, the way they look at the kids is, oh, if you let them, for sure they're going to be bad. No. They think that our kids are going to be as bad as we let them. No. It's Badak U'Manusa. That is not the case. They will not be bad because you said you can be. I let you do whatever. If they're not holding by it, they will not do it. It looks like to us that they broke through all the walls. They all have their own standards where they are. And the only time that standard changes is because of pain and a breakdown, a mashber, a breakdown, and then nebuch, they end up in a lower level. The kids who say, I would never smoke weed, a few weeks later they're smoking weed. I would never do cocaine. They're not lying. They look down at those people who behave that way. And then if they break, that's when they go there. So this courageous mom, first of all, did not say all the reasons not to do it, right? And the middle position that the world would understand is you say, listen, whatever you do, I'm going to support you. That would be a lot for the regular world to accept. I thought about it. I'm not going to weigh in. I trust you. Whatever you do, I'm going to support you. That would be like enough. Dayenu. But you have to understand, when you support the bad and you say, listen, I see that you need to do this. I feel that you need to do this, even though it's a bad thing. And this is the TP Chiddush. This is one of my big Chiddushim that drives the world bonkers. How could you support bad? And watch what happened. Case study. Unbelievable. She went ahead and she said to him, I see that you really want to do this thing, this bad thing, right? Let's do it. Let's go. And what did he say? He said, no, you know what? And he gave her all the reasons why he shouldn't do it. All those logical reasons, because first of all, they're friends, so they can talk openly because of TP. There's no fighting, right? I'll bring you a raya. A kid who's fighting doesn't tell his mommy, I want to do this bad thing. All those kids, we had this in group also, the people over there, the kids were asking their parents, and the parents said, what do I do? What do I do? First of all, no kid out there is asking, can I do something bad, or I want to do something bad, besides our kids, because they have no relationship. They're not telling you. You find out after, if you ever find out. Usually the neighbors find out before you. You find out last. Nabach. Okay? So they're our kids, they're like so close, they say, and it's so important and so healthy. So he's telling you, I want to do blank. Mommy tells him, I think you should do it. And all of a sudden, the logic clicks in, because there's no more pressure. He feels the support. He starts to be able to be more normal, and he tells Mommy all the reasons why he shouldn't do it. He gave her, we couldn't come up with more reasons than he had. So what do you see, that same... Everything that you would have wanted to say, that whole speech, we think you got to tell him, he's going to ruin his life, and it's not good for him, and he can't reverse. If you go on public like that, you're showing the whole world, and it's a big step, and da-da-da. He knew it all. They know it. They're smart kids. They're not bad, lazy, or stupid. So every parent out there that is giving advice to the kid because you think that they need logic, and they know all of this. And by the way, if their friend has a question, they'll tell it to their friend. They're smart, and they know what's right, and they just can't do it. That's not their fault. They're broken. They just can't do it. Kid in a wheelchair, he can't walk up the steps. He knows that walking up the steps is good. And we have to really understand this baduk u'manusa. What I tell you, it mamish, you can bank on it, right? For our kips. I'm not talking about for the whole world. I'm talking about our sugya here, you guys. Okay? Yeah, you agree. Now, hang on. Now, so he goes ahead and he says all the reasons not to do it, and he told his mom, if there was ever a day that I was going to do this bad thing, this was the day. And now, because of her support, he didn't do it. Even on that day, which was all the days of the world, this was the day, he didn't. That's how powerful support and acceptance is. And the bigger chiddush, the older brother who's off the derech and who wants this kid to do the bad thing, because they want to, see, you think I'm bad? Let's get the whole family my way. He would have a war with you. He goes ahead, and yesterday, and 2 days ago, and 3 days ago, and 4 days ago, for the last week or two, that this whole thing is he's telling his mother, oh, you don't want him to be like me. Oh, you don't want him to do this. Oh, you're holding on to your last straw. You're nachas, right? And he's telling the kid, you should do this. You should do this bad thing, right? He scheduled the appointment for him to do this bad thing, and as soon as you went ahead and you told it to him, the older brother, I think he should do it. I think he should do this. He has to get it out of his system. This is who he is. I accept him, supporting him. Even he, at 25 years old, 24, even he, right away, he said, oh, you know what? I don't think he's ready for it. It's unbelievable. So your house is calm and peaceful. You aligned everybody. You won the battle. You won the war. You hear this? No police necessary. Otherwise, the Agmas Nefesh, and really think about parents, where they're telling this 16, 15-year-old kid, you can't do this, I'm not going to let you. And then the 24-year-old screams at Mom and Dad, you're doing the same thing to him that you did to me, you're going to kill him like me, and I'm going to take him. And the parents feel betrayal. Started out like that. You could have a heart attack. You could have a heart attack. You feel betrayed by your kids, and they gang up on you. Mamish, unbelievable. They gang up on you, and you feel like I have no control. And then you say, look, Avi says that the older kids don't ruin the younger kids. Look what's happening. You got it all wrong, mister. Now this kid is an ally. Because as soon as you showed your acceptance, the older one said, I don't think he's ready for it. Now, next week he might do it. You might win. Ultimately, but you side number one, he's not going to do it because you let him. You side number two, if there's anything that's going to stop, it's going to be your support and acceptance. And you side number three, if that doesn't work, nothing would have. So now, at least if they do that bad thing, and they do it with mommy and daddy supporting them, you don't end up with a kid in the bottom of the world, homeless, on drugs and stealing and prostituting their body. You don't end up with that kid. Because while he's starting to unravel, and they're doing these things, they're supported. I look at it like a machla that's taking over their body. And just like chemo, the hair falls out, and then the payas fall out, and then the tefillin falls out, and the tzitzis falls out, and the tznius falls out. We've done this thousands of times, please. We know so many of these kids can come back. Then in come mom and dad, and look what a mess they make, screaming and yelling, and it's so traumatic for the kids. Not because I think that what they're doing isn't wrong, but because it doesn't help to give them musar shmuz. What helps is you support them on the way down. You're paving the way so when they turn around, there's a road right behind them. There's no distance, there's no fighting. You know how many kids there are that 10 years later, 20 years later, they say one day, I wish I can come to a Shabbos meal. I wish I can go to Shoshana to shul. They want it, but the father said, you're dead to me. He said, Kaddish, you should get out of my life. There's so much distance. So at the very minimum, if you can't stop the bad behavior anyway, which I really firmly believe you did the best thing to do to stop it, and you were matzliach. You see, this is another thing. When you scream and yell, parents say, at least I did everything I could. No, you didn't. You did the easiest, stupidest thing in the world that took no brain power, no emotional power. What you did is the hardest thing in the world. Right? People say, like, oh, so I'm a shmata? I can't tell my kid anything? Is she a shmata? She's an angel. The shmata is the one who keeps on doing something that has no effect, has no success rate, cannot really help anybody, and they keep on doing it over and over again, 1,000 times, and each time the kid says F you, F you, F you, and you do the same thing again and again, you're a shmata. But if you go ahead and you have seichel and you say, you know what, I know that if I try to fight with him, he's going to do it for sure, right? So I'm going to support it, so that way if he does it, then at least on the way down he feels my love and support, which is what so many Sfarim say anyway, and it's the angelic thing to do, and it's Rachom, and it's Chanun, and it's the best way for the way back. But there's also a chance that he won't do it. So you won all around. Now, the trick is for everybody to fill in the blank, because it's like every parent has their own journey, because it's not just like, oh, I should do that. When it's your own kid, you black out. And you say like, oh, but I don't know, but what am I going to do? You feel so good if you do the wrong thing and the kid does it anyway, but you fought and you feel, at least I tried. No, you didn't try. You push them. You push them to do the bad thing and to do it worse than they would have done it. More tattoos, more piercings, more treif, more everything. When you support the ra, then they do less ra for less amount of time. Now, the only problem with supporting ra is you need your das Torah to guide you, which you shouldn't do anything without them. But what's interesting is all we talk about here every day is das Torah, das Torah, das Torah. And we actually are bringing kids back and doing the right thing, right? The other guys who are making the kids eat more treif, baduk u'manusa, more treif and more chilul Shabbos and more suicide, they never talk about das Torah because they're doing the right thing, yelling, screaming, fighting, arguing. That's not what the Baal Shem Tov said, not what the Chazon Ish said, not what Reb Gershon said, not what Reb Shimshon Pincus said, not what Reb Pam said, not what Reb Yosef Rosenblum said, not what, I have 1,000 stories, not what the Satmar Rebbe said, not what the Lubavitcher Rebbe said. Why is that the pre-programmed state of right when dealing with a rebellious child when it's really, really wrong? So you guys know, you have the data, and you know how you know it's the right thing? It's the hard thing. In this world, anything that's easy is wrong. Everything that's good and just is always hard. And boy, is it hard. So yeah, you need a lot of CHIZUK, chazak v'yamatz. Beautiful story and very practical, and everybody learn how to apply it to your situation. If you support the ra, you end up with less ra. If they're going to do it, they would have done it anyway, so they have less emotional damage from your not support, and you're not accepting them, and you're judging them, and you're looking down. And this way you're going with them. Kids who are going with their mommy and tati to do those bad things have the greatest success rate of coming back quicker. So we save Shabbos. They can come back a year earlier, right? We save mental health. We save so much. The raya is really, if you look around the group, this is a crisis center. What kind of crisis center is this? When was the last time that we had a crisis? We have semi-crisis. Kids who are hurting. We don't have parents calling Hatzalah, Shomrim, psych wards, boot camps, fighting, screaming. Very, very rare. Hardly any. So that's a raya that you're doing the right. And it's calm, and it's difficult. You go to the Rebbe, seeing, you say Hakaput Tehillim, you should have the strength, the wisdom, right? Be'ezus Hashem, you'll be matzliach.